Hello there, you guys, and welcome back to this little holiday tutorial. Today we're looking at a very magical Christmas Yuletide carol. It's called Carol of the Bells, and it's a Ukrainian Christmas carol. So, before we jump into playing it, just a couple things. First of all, the music to this is linked for you below on 8 Notes if you're watching this on YouTube, and if you're watching this on Patreon, this is linked for you in your post today, of course, with an attachment of my scribbles and fingerings and everything, courtesy of 8 Notes. We use 8 Notes a lot, so I would recommend getting a subscription to them. They are fabulous. I love them. And the second thing is that we need to take a look at our key signature and time signature before we can jump into this one. I'm going to give you some fingerings. It's a little bit tricky here and there with this one, so I'm going to just tell you some little tips and tricks about getting around as well. So let's begin. We have 3 sharps. What are those 3 sharps? Do you remember the order of the sharps? Father Charlie goes down and eats breakfast. Father Charlie goes down and eats breakfast. So if we have 3 sharps at the beginning here, we have Father Charlie goes. And those are important for us to know because they tell us where our fingers go over here on the fingerboard. So if we take a look at this piece, we're on the D string, we're on the G string, we're on the A string, we're a little bit on the E string, we're a little bit on all the strings. So we're going to need to get the hand pattern for all those strings. So we never have to play the open G, so we're not going to really worry about that one, but just so that you know, you can't do open G if you have 3 sharps because you have a G sharp. You'd have to do a low one for G sharp. But like I said, we're not going to worry about that. Let's start with first finger on A, and then you've got B, C sharp, D. So this is an extended third hand pattern. I'm going to just start right on A here. And then I'm going to take that over to the D string, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, and A. So I'm going to start on D this time. And then on the A string and E string, we'll have a little bit of a different hand pattern. So we have A, B, C sharp, D, and E. So this is just our regular basic hand pattern. It's nice and comfortable. And on the E string, same thing. So E, F sharp, G sharp, A, and B. All right, so because we have this stretchy stretch hand pattern over here on the bottom strings, you're probably going to find that your intonation kind of creeps up over time. So make sure that you're always feeling where your first finger is, even if you're not using first finger. And use your arm to just, like a little machine, you're going to just open it to first position. And that's where you'll be. Keep your finger a little square. Don't let it creep up. Keep it a nice square, and that should help. The other thing is there are some little tricky string crossings here and there. Particularly, I'm looking at measure 4 to measure 5, going from third finger on the G string all the way over to the A string, which is tricky in itself, but to do it in a different hand pattern as well. So your arm is going to be the thing that helps you cross the strings. You see how my arm just swings over? And there it is. And also my second finger and first finger, they actually stay the same. So my third finger gets to be away from them on this one, and then it gets to be right next to the second finger on this one. So what I'm not doing is this, with third finger by itself. I'm using my little pattern here because probably I'm going to need the other fingers anyway, so bring them along. All right, the other thing is we're in 3/4, which means there's 3 beats in a measure, and the beat is a quarter note. So if you are running into eighth notes are twice as fast, they're grouped in 2s. That would be 1 and 2 and 3 and dun 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 dun. The time signature doesn't tell you how fast it goes. So we could do 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. We could do 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and. So we're going to have to use our artistic sensibilities to figure out the time signature, the tempo. Although it does say presto, 180, but that's pretty fast. Let's go ahead and just play through it. I'm going to bring you a little closer so that you can see my left hand. magical. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. MP is short for mezzo piano, which is like a whisper. Piano would definitely be a whisper. Hello. Mezzo piano is hello. So just a little bit louder than a whisper, and I'm going to put my bow maybe in the upper part of the bow and tilt the bow a little bit on the side, not this way, but this way. And I'm going to have a very light pressure. I'm closer to the fingerboard here as well. It gives you a lovely whispery sound. And here's the quick change, which you should practice slowly. And then see if you can connect the sound. And then let's put a fourth finger on this A. Reasons why we're doing this all in one string is because our strings are like a voice. We just want this little phrase that keeps going repeated over and over again. Just stay on the same voice, because if I change strings, it doesn't sound as good. This is on one string. It's not nicer. It's trickier. But it's kind of a little opportunity to work on some muscle on those weaker fingers anyway. So the mezzo forte, this is measure 11, 12, 13, measure 13. Mezzo forte is like our speaking voice. So I'm going to use more bow and be a little louder. And then we get to the forte, which is very strong. So I'm going to use lots of bow. And it also has an accent. That's that little greater than sign that's over the first note there. So I'm going to use my first finger here on the bow to press down, press, and then pull the string. All right, so now let's look at the tricky part. This is measure 18, 19, 20, 21. Measure 21. Look at the way my fingers move. So I'm going to find my C sharp, and then I'm going to use fourth finger for D sharp. So this hand pattern is a little different to accommodate this note here. We would normally have this one where they're squished together, but I'm going to do a whole step away. And you see how 1 and 2 are along for the ride, because I'd never find third finger and fourth finger without them. So have them along for the ride. Afterwards, we have an E sharp. E or E sharp, your fingers are either a whole step apart or squished together. So E sharp is not here or in the middle. It's right behind the second finger. E sharp's other name is F natural. So right behind. G sharp and A. And then reach back with first finger. Let's see that again. So the fingers kind of have to prepare a little bit before you even play the note. Prepare using the hand pattern. First finger, while I'm on my fourth finger, first finger is getting ready. You see how first finger popped back here when I played my fourth finger? So let's see that once more and I'll continue. Let's put a fourth finger on that measure 25 so that we can begin that little repetition again. And it's getting quieter, and weirdly we're getting towards the frog, not the tip, because we have to do this awkward pizzicato moment. And if I did that here, oh my gosh, I have a large distance to travel. Whereas if I did, it's just right there. I'm using my middle finger because it's easier for me. And when I pluck the strings, I'm not doing it from the finger. My finger does this, and my arm is the one that's doing the movement, very tiny motions. And And if you want to get really quiet, if you have the time and the patience to do this, you can kind of travel down the fingerboard a little bit. And kind of get that lovely dynamic happening. All right, so you guys, I hope you enjoyed our little class today on Carol of the Bells. I hope you go check out Patreon. Patreon is a magical place that I have created for you. We have 4 group events every month. Every other Thursday evening at 7:30, we do a violin viola group class. It's a little time for us to practice together, but I also usually plan a little mini lesson at the beginning. We do little practice sessions in about 10-minute intervals, and then I check in and bother you and see how you're doing, see if you have any questions. I also every month invite a really fabulous guest teacher to come and give us a lecture on something music related or history related or music theory or something that I feel would be beneficial to us as musicians. And so they're all recorded as well. So if you're on Patreon, you can access the archive of all of our guest artist classes. You don't have to be high fits to join our guest artist classes. We're actually mostly beginners. But you know, you don't have to, what I'm saying is you don't have to feel like you have to know everything and have played for many years before you will get anything out of the guest artist classes. They're for all of us at any level. We're all students of music, no matter what level we're at. And then the final thing is the last Friday of the month usually is our virtual studio circle. And that's our monthly get together to just kind of check in and see how we're doing. I give you a little review of what we've done during the month. And then it's also a little bit of a time for us to chit chat. So if you have some things you want to share, any books you've been reading, any new music books, anything, any projects that you're working on, any goals that you have, if you want to practice actually playing something and sharing what you've been working on, no matter what condition it's in, you will have a really supportive little group there to listen while you practice getting out of your comfort zone, maybe just sharing what you've been working on. All these things are good tools for us as musicians. They might be a little bit scary at first for us to just kind of put ourselves out there, but as musicians, we have to be able to put ourselves out there. Unless you just want to play in your practice room to yourself and never interact with any other human being. You can do that too. But typically musicians, it's just part of our growing process is to actually get together with other people. So anyway, we have a really sweet group there. That's all linked below for you. If you're on those groups, if you're on those tiers already, comment below and let me know, let everybody know how you like them. And then I guess that's it. I hope to see you all very soon. Thank you so much for being here. Check out 8 Notes if I didn't say that already, and I'll see you all very soon.